The smoke
Status
rose from New
update.
York's broken towers like black fingers reaching toward the stars.
Ready when you
Ambassador
are, Captain.
Chen Wei stood on what remained of the United
Engage.
Nations building, her diplomatic uniform torn and covered in dust. Behind her, the city burned. The same fires that consumed every major human settlement across Earth painted the sky in shades of
Status
orange and
update.
red.
Bridge.
Chen looked up
We
at
are
the alien
inbound.
ships hovering in the atmosphere.
Status update.
12 different species made up the hegemony fleet.
Ready when you are,
For
Captain.
30 years, she had tried to talk to them.
Engage.
30 years of peace offers, trade agreements, and surrender terms. They had ignored every single one. Final transmission beginning, her aide whispered. The young man's hands shook as he activated the communications array. This would be
Status
humanity's
update.
last
Bridge.
message to the galaxy.
We are inbound.
Chen straightened her shoulders and faced the
Status
camera.
update.
Across the galaxy, every ship, every station, every world would
Ready when you
receive
are,
this
Captain.
broadcast. She had practiced these words for
Engage.
weeks, hoping she would never need to say them. To the Hegemony Council and all who receive this message, she began. Her voice was steady despite the chaos around her. I am Ambassador Chen Wei,
Status update.
speaking for the
Bridge.
people of Earth and all human
We are
colonies.
inbound.
An explosion
Status
echoed in the
update.
distance. More ships were landing, bringing
Ready
more
when you are,
soldiers to finish
Captain.
what they had started. Chen did not look
Engage.
away from the camera. For 30 years, we have offered you peace. We opened our worlds to trade. We shared our technology. We offered to join your alliance as equals. You responded with invasion. You destroyed our colonies.
Status
You
update.
enslaved our
Bridge.
people. You called us
We
weak
are
because we
inbound.
preferred words to weapons.
Status update.
The ground shook as hegemony forces moved closer. Chen could hear
Ready
their
when you
heavy
are,
footsteps
Captain.
in the building below. They would be here
Engage.
soon. We tried to show you that strength does not always mean violence. We believed that intelligent species could solve problems without war. We were wrong about you. You only understand force. You think compassion
Status
is weakness.
update. Bridge.
You mistake mercy for cowardice.
inbound.
Chen paused and looked directly
Status
into the
update.
camera. Behind her, the last evacuation ships were launching
when
from
you
the
are,
spaceport.
Captain.
Tiny lights against the burning
Engage.
sky, carrying the final survivors to safety, to hidden places the hegemony would never find. You wanted to see what humans are really like when we stop being peaceful. You are about to find out. We tried peace.
Status update.
You would not
Bridge.
listen. Now you will meet
We
the
are
other side of
inbound.
humanity. The
Status
door behind her
update.
exploded inward. Hegemony soldiers poured into the room, their
Ready when
weapons
you are,
raised.
Captain.
Chen did not turn around.
Engage.
She kept speaking to the camera. To any species watching this transmission, learn from our mistake. The hegemony only respects strength. They will take everything you offer and demand more. They will see your kindness as weakness and
Status
use it
update.
against you.
Bridge.
A soldier
are
barked something in his
inbound.
alien language. Chen heard
Status
the
update.
charging whine of energy weapons behind her. She had seconds left.
Ready when you are,
To the
Captain.
human survivors scattered across the galaxy,
Engage.
remember who we were before this day. Remember that we chose peace first. But also remember that sometimes evil forces you to become something else. Sometimes you have to fight monsters by becoming something they fear more.
Status update.
The soldier
Bridge.
shouted again. Chen could
We
feel
are
the heat from his
inbound.
weapon on her back.
Status
To the
update.
Hegemony Council, you have won this battle. Earth will fall today.
Ready when you are, Captain.
But you have made a terrible mistake.
Engage.
You thought the humans you met were all of us. You were wrong. The diplomats, the farmers, the scientists, the teachers, they were our hope for a better future. But we always had another side. A darker side.
Status update.
The side we
Bridge.
kept hidden because we wanted to
We
be
are
better than our
inbound.
ancestors.
Status
Red targeting
update.
lasers danced across the walls. Chen smiled sadly at the
Ready
camera.
when you are, Captain.
You are about to meet the humans we
Engage.
tried not to be. The ones we kept sleeping in the dark places between the stars. The ones we hoped we would never need. They have been waiting for this day. Waiting for the signal that peace has failed. Waiting for permission to do
Status
what they were
update.
made to do.
Bridge.
The soldier
We
spoke
are
in broken
inbound.
English now. Stop
Status
talking or we kill
update.
you. Chen laughed. You are going to kill me anyway.
Ready when you are, Captain.
But that is fine. My death will be the
Engage.
signal they are waiting for. When this transmission ends, they will wake up. And then you will learn why humanity survived every war, every disaster, every enemy we ever faced. She looked into the camera one last time. Somewhere out there, her brother
Bridge.
Marcus was watching.
We are
Admiral
inbound.
Morrison was watching.
Status
General
update.
Hayes was watching. All of them asleep in their ships waiting for this
Ready when
moment.
you are, Captain.
We gave you every chance to be our
Engage.
friends. We offered you our best qualities, our creativity, our hope, our desire to build instead of destroy. You threw it all away. You chose to be our enemies. Now you will meet the worst parts of human nature.
Status
The
update.
parts we evolved
Bridge.
in millions of years of war and
We are
death.
inbound.
The parts we tried to leave behind.
Status update.
The energy weapons hummed louder. Chen closed her eyes. We
Ready
tried
when you
peace.
are, Captain.
Now you get war. Real war.
Engage.
Human war. And we are very, very good at it. The transmission cut off as the weapons fired. Ambassador Chen Wei, humanity's greatest diplomat, died as she had lived, trying to save her people.
Status update.
But her death was not an ending. It was a beginning.
Inbound.
Across the
Status
galaxy,
update.
hidden ships received the signal. In secret bases built
Ready
over
when you are,
centuries,
Captain.
automated systems came online.
Engage.
In the cold sleep chambers scattered throughout space, military commanders who had been waiting for decades began to wake up. The hegemony had destroyed peaceful humanity. They celebrated as
Status
Earth burned.
update. Bridge.
They thought they had won a great
We are
victory.
inbound.
They had eliminated the human
Status
problem
update.
forever. They were wrong. The humans they had
Ready
fought
when
were
you
the
are,
ones who
Captain.
built schools and hospitals,
Engage.
the ones who preferred books to bullets, the ones who chose to create instead of destroy. Those humans were dead now, burned with their cities and their dreams of peace. But other humans were waking up. Humans who had been
Status
trained for war
update.
since
Bridge.
childhood. Humans who studied death the way
inbound.
others studied art.
Status update.
Humans who had been kept in the darkness for good reason.
Ready
Admiral
when you are,
Morrison
Captain.
opened her eyes in her sleep chamber aboard the
Engage.
battleship. Humanity's wrath. Around her, 50 other ships powered up their weapon systems. They had been drifting in space for 20 years, waiting for this signal. General Hayes
Status
activated his
update.
command center
Bridge.
on the moon base that officially
We are
did not
inbound.
exist.
Status
His soldiers had
update.
been in training for 30 years, learning everything about every
Ready when
hegemony
you are,
species,
Captain.
their weaknesses,
Engage.
their fears, how to kill them. And in the deepest part of space, Marcus Chen, the ambassador's brother who had been reported dead 50 years ago, stood on the bridge of a ship so large it could destroy
Status
entire star
update.
systems.
Bridge.
He
We are
watched his sister
inbound.
die on the recorded transmission.
Status update.
Then he smiled. Signal all Ghost Fleet units,
Ready
he
when you
ordered.
are, Captain.
Phase 1 is complete. Begin
Engage.
Phase 2. Show them what humans really look like when we stop pretending to be civilized. The hegemony had wanted to see monsters. They were about to get their wish. 6 months after Earth burned,
Status update.
the hegemony
Bridge.
thought they had won the greatest
We are
victory in
inbound.
galactic history. The
Status
human problem
update.
was solved. Their colonies were empty ruins.
Ready
Their
when you
ships
are,
were scrap
Captain.
metal floating in space.
Engage.
Their home world was a dead rock circling a yellow star. Commander Vex of the Kethvar warrior caste stood on the bridge of his battleship, watching his crew celebrate. They had just finished dividing human territory among the
Status
12 hegemony
update.
species.
Bridge.
Rich worlds with
We are
good soil and
inbound.
clean water. Mining
Status
systems full of
update.
rare metals. Strategic positions perfect for military
Ready when
bases.
you are, Captain.
The humans made it easy for us,
Engage.
Vex told his officers. They were weak. They talked too much and fought too little. They deserved to die. His communications officer looked up from her station. Sir, we are receiving a distress call from Kepler
Status
Station.
update.
They
Bridge.
say unknown ships are attacking.
We are inbound.
Vex laughed. Probably pirates
Status
thinking they
update.
can steal human technology. Send the patrol squadron to deal
Ready
with
when
them.
you are, Captain.
3 hours later, the patrol squadron was
Engage.
gone. No wreckage. No escape pods. No final transmissions. They had simply disappeared. Send a full battle group, Vex ordered. He was not laughing anymore. The battle group found Kepler
Status
Station
update.
intact but
Bridge.
empty. Every
We
hegemony
are
scientist and
inbound.
soldier on the station was dead.
Status update.
The attackers had been precise and efficient. No
Ready when you
unnecessary
are,
destruction.
Captain.
No random violence.
Engage.
Professional work. But the strangest thing was the ship still docked at the station. They were human designs, but unlike any human ships the hegemony had ever seen. These vessels were painted matte black. They had no
Status
diplomatic
update.
markings, no
Bridge.
civilian identification
We are
codes.
inbound.
They looked like weapons
Status
designed by
update.
predators. Admiral Morrison walked through the corridors
you
of
are,
Kepler
Captain.
Station, her boots echoing on the metal
Engage.
floors. Her soldiers moved behind her like ghosts, checking every room for intelligence. They wore black armor with no national flags or unit insignia. Their faces were hidden behind tactical masks.
Status update. Bridge.
Morrison stopped at the station's
We
main
are
laboratory.
inbound.
The hegemony had
Status
been
update.
studying captured human technology here, trying to understand
Ready
how
when
to
you are,
use it.
Captain.
Now the lab was empty except for bodies and
Engage.
broken equipment. Status report, Morrison said into her communicator. All hegemony personnel eliminated, came the reply. No survivors. No witnesses. Research data destroyed. We found
Status
detailed
update.
files on human
Bridge.
technology and biology.
We are
They were
inbound.
planning to use our own inventions
Status
against human
update.
survivors. Morrison nodded. The hegemony had made
Ready
another
when you are,
mistake.
Captain.
They thought the technology they captured
Engage.
from peaceful human colonies was all humans could build. They had no idea what military technology looked like. Begin Phase 2 transmissions, Morrison ordered. Across hegemony space, every ship and station received
Status
the same
update.
message.
Bridge.
The transmission showed
We are
Morrison
inbound.
standing in Kepler Station's command
Status
center.
update.
Behind her, hegemony bodies were stacked like firewood.
Ready when you are,
To the
Captain.
hegemony council, Morrison began.
Engage.
Her voice was calm and professional, like a teacher explaining a simple lesson. I am Admiral Sarah Morrison of the Human Ghost Fleet. You killed our diplomats, so you will deal with our soldiers instead. She
Status
gestured to the
update.
bodies behind
Bridge.
her. You
We
have
are
been studying the
inbound.
technology from our peaceful
Status
colonies.
update.
You thought you understood human capabilities.
Ready when
You were
are,
wrong.
Captain.
The humans you destroyed were
Engage.
farmers and scientists and teachers. We are something else entirely. Morrison pulled out a data pad and read from it. Kepler Station personnel, 437 hegemony citizens. Military value
Status
minimal.
update. Bridge.
Scientific value minimal.
We are inbound.
Threat to human survivors eliminated.
Status update.
Time required for operation, 6 hours. Human
when
casualties,
you are,
0.
Captain.
She looked directly into the camera.
Engage.
You wanted to see what humans are really like. These bodies are your first lesson. We are not the species you fought before. We are not interested in peace talks or surrender negotiations. We are not going to warn you before we
Status
attack.
update.
We are
Bridge.
not going to show mercy to
We are
prisoners.
inbound.
Morrison dropped the data
Status
pad and
update.
stepped closer to the camera. You made us this way. For
Ready
30
when you
years,
are,
our
Captain.
diplomats begged you to stop killing our people.
Engage.
You laughed at them. You called us weak. You said we were cowards because we preferred words to weapons. You taught us that mercy is weakness. She smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Lesson learned. From
Status
now on,
update. Bridge.
every interaction between humans and the
inbound.
hegemony will be a military
Status
action.
update.
You will not receive warnings. You will not receive quarter.
Ready when
You will
are,
not
Captain.
receive burials. Morrison turned and
Engage.
walked toward the camera until her face filled the screen. Phase 1 was reconnaissance. We wanted to see how you fight when you think you are safe. Phase 2 begins now. We are going to show you how humans fight when we stop pretending to be
Status
civilized.
update. Bridge.
The transmission ended.
We are
Across
inbound.
hegemony space, military commanders
Status
looked at each
update.
other with growing fear. This was not the species they had
Ready when
destroyed
you
6
are,
months
Captain.
ago. These humans moved like
Engage.
professional killers. They spoke like machines designed for war. On the bridge of his battleship, Commander Vex stared at the blank screen. Send a message to High Command, he ordered. Tell them the humans are
Status
not
update.
extinct.
Bridge.
Tell them something else survived.
We are
Something
inbound.
worse. But High
Status
Command was
update.
already getting reports from across their territory. Human ships were
Ready when
appearing
you are,
everywhere,
Captain.
hitting targets with surgical precision.
Engage.
Military bases, research stations, supply depots, communication arrays. Always the same pattern. Fast, efficient, deadly. The strangest part was that these
Status
humans never
update.
tried to capture
Bridge.
territory.
We are
They would destroy a
inbound.
target completely,
Status
then disappear
update.
before reinforcements arrived. They seemed to know exactly
Ready
where
when you are, Captain.
hegemony forces would be and how long it would
Engage.
take for help to come. General Hayes monitored the operations from his secret base on Luna. The moon had been declared destroyed along with Earth, but the base was hidden deep underground. For
Status
30 years, his
update.
intelligence
Bridge.
teams had been mapping every
We are
hegemony
inbound.
installation, learning their
Status
patrol
update.
schedules, identifying their weaknesses. First
when
wave
you are,
reports,
Captain.
an aide announced. 47
Engage.
targets eliminated across 12 star systems. Enemy response time exactly as predicted. No human casualties, Hayes nodded. The hegemony had made this easy by being predictable. They followed the same tactical
Status
patterns they had
update.
used for
Bridge.
centuries.
We are
They relied on the
inbound.
same technology.
Status
They made the
update.
same mistakes over and over. Begin second wave operations,
Ready when
Hayes
you are,
ordered.
Captain.
Target their supply lines this time.
Engage.
Let them know we have been watching everything they do. The hegemony was about to learn that the humans they destroyed had been protecting them from something much worse. The peaceful humans had been a shield, holding back the darker parts of human
Status
nature.
update. Bridge.
Now that shield was gone.
We are inbound.
Admiral Morrison returned to her
Status
flagship and
update.
looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, Marcus Chen
Ready
was
when you
preparing
are,
the final
Captain.
phase of their plan. The phase
Engage.
that would teach the hegemony what total war really meant. The humans had tried peace for 30 years. Now they would try the other thing they were good at. The thing they had been trying not to be war, real war,
Status
human
update.
war.
Bridge.
And humans had been practicing
We are
war for
inbound.
millions of years.
Status
The true
update.
scope of human preparation revealed itself like a nightmare coming to
Ready
life.
when you are,
Across the
Captain.
galaxy, installations that had been
Engage.
hidden for decades suddenly activated. Weapons that had been sleeping in the darkness between stars powered up their engines. Soldiers who had been waiting in cold storage for 50 years opened their eyes. General
Status
Marcus
update.
Chen stood in the
Bridge.
command center of Prometheus
We are
Station,
inbound.
a base so secret
update.
that even most humans did not know it existed.
Ready
built
when you
inside
are,
a rogue
Captain.
planet drifting in deep space.
Engage.
The station had been preparing for this war since before his sister was born. Status report on Ghost Fleet activation, Marcus ordered. 97% of assets now online, his aide replied.
Status update.
234
Bridge.
battleships,
We are
412
inbound.
destroyers, 896 support vessels. All commanders awakened and
Ready when you
briefed.
are, Captain.
All weapon systems operational,
Engage.
Marcus nodded. The peaceful humans had built farms and schools and hospitals. The military humans had built this. A fleet larger than anything the hegemony possessed, hidden in places they never thought to look.
Status
What about the
update.
specialist
Bridge.
units? Marcus
We
asked.
are inbound.
The Reapers are in position around
Status
hegemony
update.
military bases. The Shadows have infiltrated their communication
Ready when you
networks.
are, Captain.
The Plague Doctors are ready to deploy
Engage.
biological weapons. The Mindbreakers are standing by to begin psychological operations. Marcus smiled. The hegemony thought they understood humans because they had fought farmers and diplomats. They had no idea what humanity looked like when they
Status
stopped
update.
holding back.
Bridge.
Begin phase
are
3,
inbound.
Marcus ordered. Show them what
Status
total
update.
war means. On the other side of the galaxy,
Ready when you
Admiral
are, Captain.
Morrison received her orders while orbiting
Engage.
a hegemony supply world. The planet below provided food for 12 different star systems. Destroying it would starve millions of enemy soldiers. But Morrison had something better than destruction in mind.
Status
Something that
update.
would teach the
Bridge.
hegemony a lesson they would
We
never
are
forget.
inbound.
Deploy the
Status
agricultural
update.
virus, she ordered. The virus was a masterpiece
when
of
you are,
human
Captain.
biological engineering. It would not hurt
Engage.
any living creature. Instead, it would target the specific crops that hegemony species needed to survive. Within weeks, every farm on the planet would be producing food that looked normal, but contained no nutrition.
Status
The hegemony
update.
would starve
Bridge.
slowly, watching their
We are
bodies waste
inbound.
away while their stomachs felt full.
Status update.
It was cruel. It was creative.
Ready
It
when
was
you
completely
are, Captain.
invisible until it was too late to stop.
Engage.
Meanwhile, the Shadows were infiltrating hegemony communication networks with viruses designed specifically for alien technology. These programs did not just destroy data, they learned,
Status
They
update.
adapted.
Bridge.
they spread from
We are
system to system
inbound.
like a digital plague,
Status
turning the
update.
hegemony's own networks against them. The viruses
Ready
would
when you are,
monitor
Captain.
military communications and send false
Engage.
orders. They would redirect supply shipments to empty space. They would make hegemony ships fire on their own allies by convincing their targeting systems that friendly vessels were human attackers.
Status
But the cruelest
update.
part
Bridge.
was that the viruses would
We are
work slowly.
inbound.
The hegemony
Status
would have
update.
time to realize what was happening. They would try to stop it.
Ready when you
They
are,
would
Captain.
fail. They would watch their own technology
Engage.
betray them piece by piece. On the planet Kethvar Prime, homeworld of the warrior species that led the hegemony military, something impossible was happening. Their greatest heroes were dying in single
Status
combat
update.
against unknown
Bridge.
opponents. The
We are
Kethvar had
inbound.
always settled disputes through ritual
Status
duels.
update.
Their strongest warriors were considered gods
Ready when
among
you
their
are,
people.
Captain.
But now these champions were
Engage.
being challenged by humans who seemed to appear from nowhere. Captain Lisa Reaper of the Human Special Forces stood over the body of Warlord Thex, the greatest Kethvar fighter in 1,000 years. The duel had
Status
lasted
update.
6 hours.
Bridge.
Thex had been
We
faster,
are
stronger,
inbound.
and more experienced.
Status
But Lisa had
update.
been smarter. She had studied Kethvar fighting styles for 30
Ready when
years.
you are, Captain.
She knew every move, every weakness, every
Engage.
psychological trigger that would make them angry enough to make mistakes. She had turned their own warrior culture against them. Who are you? Thex gasped with his dying breath. I am what you made us, Lisa replied. You taught us
Status
that only
update.
strength matters.
Bridge.
So we became stronger
we are
than you.
inbound.
The Kethvar
Status
watching the
update.
duel could not believe what they had seen. Their greatest champion,
Ready when you are,
defeated
Captain.
by a small human female who fought like she had
Engage.
been born for war. It was impossible. It was terrifying. It was spreading doubt through their entire military. Across hegemony space, similar operations were targeting each species according to their specific
Status
weaknesses.
update. Bridge.
The aquatic
We are
Murthani
inbound.
found their oceans poisoned with
Status
compounds that
update.
only affected their respiratory systems. They could still
Ready when
breathe
you are,
air,
Captain.
but the water that covered their
Engage.
homeworlds was becoming toxic. The hive-minded Zephyrians discovered that humans had developed electromagnetic weapons that could sever their collective consciousness. Individual Zephyrians trapped without the comfort of their
Status
mental
update. Bridge.
links went insane within
We are
days.
inbound.
The plant-like Verdani
Status
watched
update.
their forests burn with fires that only consumed their
Ready when you
species
are,
of tree
Captain.
while leaving other plants untouched.
Engage.
Their cities, grown from living wood, collapsed into ash while human fires raged around them. Each attack was precisely calculated to cause maximum psychological damage. The humans were not just
Status
winning
update.
battles,
Bridge.
they were breaking the hegemony's
We are
will to
inbound.
fight. Admiral
Status
Morrison
update.
stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching reports flow in
Ready
from
when you
across
are,
the
Captain.
galaxy. Phase 3 was
Engage.
exceeding all expectations. The hegemony was not just losing. They were falling apart. "Ma'am," her communications officer called out, "we are receiving surrender requests from 17 hegemony worlds."
Status update.
"They want to negotiate
Bridge.
terms," Morrison laughed.
We are inbound.
"Tell them we do not negotiate with
Status
species that
update.
refuse to negotiate. Tell them they had 30 years
Ready
to
when you
surrender.
are, Captain.
That offer has expired."
Engage.
The hegemony was learning what humans meant by total war. It was not just about destroying the enemy's military. It was about destroying their ability to think, to hope, to resist. It was about making them understand that continuing to
Status
fight was
update.
worse than death.
Bridge.
But the most terrible
We are
revelation
inbound.
was still coming.
Status update.
The operations so far had been conducted by human military units,
Ready when you are, Captain.
professional soldiers doing a professional job.
Engage.
The hegemony was about to meet something much worse. Deep in the spaces between stars, Marcus Chen was preparing to unleash humanity's final weapon. Not a device or a ship or a virus. Something
Status
far more
update.
dangerous.
Bridge.
The part of human nature
are
that had
inbound.
allowed them to survive every extinction
Status
event,
update.
every predator, every disaster their planet
Ready
had
when
thrown
you
at
are,
them.
Captain.
The part that had let them climb to the top of the
Engage.
food chain and stay there for millions of years. The part that had no limits, no mercy, no conscience when it came to protecting their own. Marcus opened a communication channel to every human ship in the
Status
galaxy.
update. Bridge.
All units,
We
prepare
are
for Phase
inbound.
4. It is time to show
Status
them what we
update.
really look like when someone kills our children.
Ready when you
The
are,
hegemony
Captain.
had wanted to see monsters.
Engage.
They had complained that humans were too peaceful, too weak, too civilized. They had forced humanity to become something else. Now they were going to meet the thing they had created, and they were going to wish they had accepted that
Status
first peace treaty
update.
30 years
Bridge.
ago. Phase
We
4
are
began with
inbound.
silence. For 3 days,
Status
human
update.
attacks stopped completely. No ships appeared on hegemony sensors.
Ready when you are,
No
Captain.
communication viruses spread through their
Engage.
networks. No biological weapons poisoned their worlds. The enemy had simply vanished. High Commander Zek of the Hegemony Council stood in the war room on their capital world, staring at tactical displays that
Status
showed
update.
nothing.
Bridge.
His advisors whispered
are
among
inbound.
themselves, trying to understand
Status
what the
update.
humans were planning. "Perhaps they are retreating," suggested
when you
General
are,
Vorth of the
Captain.
Kethvar. "Our losses have been
Engage.
acceptable. Their terrorism campaign cannot continue forever." "No," Zek replied, his 4 eyes focused on the empty displays. "This feels wrong. They are preparing something. Something final."
Status
He was
update.
right.
Bridge.
Across the galaxy,
We are inbound.
human forces were moving into position
Status
for
update.
operations unlike anything the hegemony had seen. This would not
Ready
be
when you
surgical
are,
strikes or
Captain.
psychological warfare. This
Engage.
would be extinction. Admiral Morrison floated in space near the Murthani home system, watching the blue-green worlds that housed billions of aquatic beings. Her fleet had been positioned here for weeks, waiting for final
Status
orders.
update.
Now those
Bridge.
orders had come.
We are
Deploy
inbound.
the nanophage, Morrison commanded.
Status update.
The nanophage was humanity's most terrible creation. Microscopic
Ready when you are,
machines that could be
Captain.
programmed to target specific
Engage.
genetic sequences. They would spread through water systems like living poison, seeking out Murthani DNA and replacing it with something else, something that could not survive. The Murthani would not die quickly. The nanophage
Status
would work
update.
slowly,
Bridge.
changing their cellular structure bit by
inbound.
bit. They would have
Status
time to
update.
understand what was happening. Time to watch their children
Ready when you
transform
are,
into
Captain.
something that was no longer alive.
Engage.
Time to beg for mercy that would never come. On the other side of the galaxy, Captain Reaper was preparing something equally horrific for the Kethvar. Their warrior culture valued honor above life. They would rather die than be
Status
dishonored.
update.
So
Bridge.
Reaper was going to give them something worse than
inbound.
death. The humans
Status
had developed a
update.
nerve agent that would not kill Kethvar warriors. Instead,
when
it
you
would
are,
paralyze
Captain.
them completely while leaving their minds
Engage.
intact. They would be conscious but unable to move, speak, or fight. For a species that defined itself through combat, it was a fate worse than extinction. Begin atmospheric seeding of Kethvar Prime,
Status update.
Reaper ordered.
Bridge.
Her ships released clouds
We
of
are
invisible
inbound.
gas that would settle into the planet's air
Status update.
supply. Within hours, every Kethvar on the planet would be trapped
Ready
in their
when
own
you are,
bodies,
Captain.
aware but helpless.
Engage.
The Verdani faced their own personalized nightmare. Human bioengineers had created a fungus that would consume their plant-like bodies from the inside. The infection would spread through their root networks,
Status
connecting every
update.
Verdani
Bridge.
on their homeworlds in a web
We
of
are
shared
inbound.
agony. They would
Status
feel each
update.
other dying, unable to disconnect from the collective
Ready
pain.
when you are, Captain.
But perhaps the cruelest fate was reserved
Engage.
for the Zephyrians. The hive-minded species relied on their mental connections for sanity. Humans had developed a way to sever those connections permanently, while keeping the Zephyrians alive. They would be conscious but
Status
completely
update.
alone in their
Bridge.
own minds for the first time
We
in
are
their
inbound.
species' history. The
Status
isolation
update.
would drive them insane within days. But the humans
Ready
had
when
also
you are,
developed
Captain.
drugs to prevent suicide,
Engage.
keeping the Zephyrians alive to experience their madness for decades. Each weapon had been designed specifically for maximum suffering. The humans were not just killing their enemies. They were
Status
making them
update.
experience
Bridge.
every form of horror their
We
species
are
could imagine.
inbound.
General
Status
Hayes
update.
monitored the operations from his command center, watching as 12
when you
different
are,
extinction
Captain.
protocols activated across hegemony
Engage.
space. The data flowing across his screens showed the systematic end of civilizations that had existed for thousands of years. "Sir," his aide reported, "the Hegemony Council is broadcasting
Status
surrender offers on
update.
all
Bridge.
frequencies. They are
are
begging us to
inbound.
stop." Hayes smiled.
Status
Too late
update.
for that. They had their chance to surrender 30 years
Ready
ago.
when you are, Captain.
They chose war instead. Now they get to
Engage.
see what human war really looks like. The Hegemony's surrender offers became increasingly desperate. They offered to give up all human territory. They offered to pay tribute for 1,000 years. They offered to become human slaves.
Status update. Bridge.
They offered to exile themselves
We
to
are
the edges of the
inbound.
galaxy. None of it
Status
mattered.
update.
The humans were no longer interested in
Ready
negotiation.
when you are, Captain.
On the capital world of the Hegemony,
Engage.
High Commander Zek watched his civilization die in real time. Reports came in from every system showing the same pattern. Entire species going extinct in ways specifically designed to maximize terror and suffering.
Status
How many do
update.
we have
Bridge.
left? Zek asked his
We
aide.
are inbound.
Population estimates show
Status
70% losses across all member species. Military effectiveness
when
down
you
to
are,
12%. Economic collapse
Engage.
complete. Social cohesion failing on every world. Zek closed his eyes. The humans had done the impossible. They had destroyed an empire that controlled half the galaxy in less than 6 months. But worse than that, they had done it with such precision that Zek knew they could have done it
We are
any time they
inbound.
wanted. They were
Status
holding
update.
back, he whispered. For 30 years they were holding
Ready
back.
when you are, Captain.
We thought they were weak, but they were just
Engage.
choosing not to destroy us. His aide nodded. Intelligence reports suggest the humans could have eliminated us completely within days of first contact. Everything they showed us, their diplomacy, their
Status
peaceful
update.
colonies, their
Bridge.
reluctance to fight,
We are
it was all
inbound.
real. But it was
Status
just
update.
one side of their nature. And now we have met the other side,
Ready when you are,
Zek
Captain.
said. Admiral Morrison
Engage.
stood on the bridge of her flagship, watching the Mirthani homeworlds turn brown as their oceans died. Billions of aquatic beings were transforming into something that could not survive in water or air. They would die
Status
slowly,
update.
watching their
Bridge.
children and their civilization
We are
collapse
inbound.
around them.
Status
Ma'am,
update.
her communications officer reported, we are receiving
Ready
a
when you are,
transmission from the
Captain.
Human Fleet Command. General
Engage.
Chen wants to speak with you. Morrison activated the communication screen. Marcus Chen appeared, his face showing no emotion as he delivered his final orders. Phase 4 is complete, he said. Begin Phase
Status
5, leave
update.
no witnesses.
Bridge.
No survivors.
We are inbound.
No possibility of recovery.
Status update.
Make sure no species in this galaxy ever makes the mistake of thinking
Ready when
humans
you
are
are,
weak
Captain.
again. Morrison nodded.
Engage.
Phase 5 was the end. Total sterilization of every hegemony world. Not just killing the population, but destroying the planets themselves. Making sure that nothing could ever grow in hegemony space again. Understood,
Status
General.
update.
How long do we
Bridge.
have? Take
We
as
are
long as you need,
inbound.
Marcus replied.
Status
We are not
update.
in a hurry. Let them know we are coming. Let them try to
Ready
run.
when you are, Captain.
Let them understand that there is no escape from what they
Engage.
chose to become our enemies. The transmission ended. Morrison looked out at the dying worlds below and felt nothing. No satisfaction, no regret, no emotion at all. The humans had become exactly what the
Status
hegemony
update.
had forced them
Bridge.
to become.
We are
Perfect
inbound.
killers. Efficient
Status
destroyers.
update.
Machines designed for extinction. They had tried to be
Ready when
something
you are,
better.
Captain.
They had wanted to be
Engage.
explorers and teachers and friends to the galaxy, but the hegemony had taught them that the universe only respected strength. So they had become stronger than anyone imagined possible. And now 12 species were
Status
paying the
update.
price for that
Bridge.
lesson.
We are inbound.
The end came not with a massive fleet,
Status update.
but with a single ship. High Commander Zek stood on
when
the
you are,
observation
Captain.
deck of the hegemony's last stronghold,
Engage.
watching the small human vessel approach their capital world. Around him, the final remnants of 12 once mighty civilizations waited for death. Less than 1 million beings remained from populations that had once
Status
numbered in the
update.
trillions.
Bridge.
The ship was not
We
a
are
warship.
inbound.
It bore diplomatic
Status
markings
update.
and transmitted peaceful intentions. After everything
Ready
the
when you
humans
are,
had done,
Captain.
they were sending a diplomat.
Engage.
Sir, his aide whispered, the ship is requesting permission to land. They say they have a message from the human leadership. Zek laughed bitterly. Let them come. What more can they do to us? The ship
Status
landed in the
update.
capital
Bridge.
city's central plaza.
We are inbound.
The doors opened, and a figure
Status
stepped out that
update.
made Zek's blood freeze. It was Ambassador
Ready
Chen
when you
Wei,
are, Captain.
the human diplomat whose death had started
Engage.
this war. But she was different now, scarred, changed. Her eyes held depths of pain that had not been there before. Chen walked through the empty streets of the capital, her
Status
footsteps
update.
echoing off
Bridge.
abandoned buildings. The
We
few
are
surviving
inbound.
hegemony citizens who saw her
Status
fled in
update.
terror. They had seen what her people could do. They knew
Ready
she
when you are,
represented
Captain.
something more terrible than any weapon.
Engage.
She entered the government building and made her way to the council chambers. The last 12 representatives of the hegemony species sat around a table waiting for her. They looked like broken dolls, their spirits crushed by months of systematic
Status
extermination.
update. Bridge.
Hi, Commander Zek,
We are
Chen
inbound.
said, taking a seat at the table.
Status update.
You look surprised to see me. You died, Zek whispered.
Ready when you are,
We
Captain.
watched you die on Earth. The transmission
Engage.
showed your execution. Chen smiled sadly. I survived. Barely. I spent the last 6 months traveling through what remains of your empire, watching what my people have become. Watching what you
update.
forced us to
Bridge.
become. She placed
We
a
are
data pad on the
inbound.
table. These are the final
Status
casualty
update.
reports. 11.7 billion Murthani dead.
Ready when you are,
8.9 billion
Captain.
Kethavar dead. 7.2
Engage.
billion Zephyrians dead. And so on for all 12 of your species. Total deaths, 94.6 billion sentient beings. The numbers hit the council like physical blows. They had known their people were dying,
Status
but seeing
update.
the complete
Bridge.
scope of the slaughter laid out in
We are
cold
inbound.
mathematics was overwhelming.
Status update.
Why? Asked Councillor Mayer of the few surviving Mirthani.
Ready when you are, Captain.
Why did you come here to tell us this?
Engage.
Why not just finish the job? Chen leaned forward. Because I want you to understand something. This war could have ended differently. Every single one of those deaths could have been prevented. All you had to do was accept peace when
Status
we
update.
offered it.
Bridge.
She activated a holographic display
inbound.
that showed the timeline of
Status
human
update.
hegemony relations. 30 years ago, we sent our first peace
Ready
treaty.
when you are, Captain.
You rejected it. 28
Engage.
years ago, we offered trade agreements. You destroyed our merchant ships. 25 years ago, we proposed joint colonies. You enslaved our settlers. The display showed dozens of peace offers, all rejected.
Status
Hundreds of
update.
attempts at
Bridge.
negotiation, all ignored.
We are inbound.
Thousands of human deaths that could have been
Status update.
prevented. We tried everything, Chen continued.
Ready
We
when you
offered
are,
you our
Captain.
technology, our friendship, our loyalty.
Engage.
We begged you to stop killing our people. We surrendered unconditionally 3 times. You laughed at us. You called us weak. You said we deserved to die because we would not fight back. Chen stood and walked to the
Status
window,
update. Bridge.
looking out at the dead city below.
We are inbound.
So we stopped trying to
Status
be what you
update.
would not let us be. We became what you forced us to become.
Ready when you
and
are,
now you see the
Captain.
result. But you won,
Engage.
Zek said desperately. You destroyed us. It is over. What more do you want? Chen turned back to face the council. I want you to make a choice. The same choice you refused to give us. She placed another
Status
device on the
update.
table.
Bridge.
It looked like a simple
We are
communicator,
inbound.
but the council knew it was
Status
something
update.
else. Something final. This device will transmit a
when you are,
message to
Captain.
every remaining ship in the human fleet.
Engage.
Chen explained. I can send one of 2 signals. The first signal will order our forces to stand down. The war will end. Your surviving populations will be allowed to live under human supervision. You will never
Status
threaten anyone
update.
again, but you
Bridge.
will survive.
We are inbound.
And the second signal? Zek
Status
asked,
update.
though he already knew the answer. Total extinction. Every
Ready when you
planet
are,
where your
Captain.
species ever lived will be sterilized.
Engage.
Every space station, every ship, every settlement will be destroyed. Your languages will be forgotten. Your cultures will disappear. Your species will become nothing more than entries in human history books.
Status
Chen
update.
sat down again,
Bridge.
her hand resting on
We
the
are
device.
inbound.
30 years ago, we gave you the
Status
same
update.
choice. Peace or war. Coexistence or destruction.
Ready when you are, Captain.
You chose war. Now I am giving you one
Engage.
last chance to choose differently. The council members looked at each other in despair. After everything that had happened, the humans were still offering them a choice. Even now, at the end of everything, they were trying to find a way to
Status
avoid
update.
complete
Bridge.
genocide. Why?
We are inbound.
Counselor Mir asked again.
Status
After what
update.
we did to your people, why are you offering us mercy?
Ready
Chen's
when you are,
expression grew
Captain.
distant. Because if we kill all of you, we become exactly what you said we were. Monsters. And some part of me still remembers who we used to be before you taught us to be killers. She paused, then continued.
Status
But I need
update,
you to
Bridge.
understand something.
We
This
are
offer
inbound.
expires in 1 hour, and if you
Status
refuse
update.
it, there will be no more chances. No more negotiations.
Ready when you are,
No more
Captain.
mercy. The human war machine we built to
Engage.
destroy you has grown beyond our ability to control it completely. Even I am not sure we can stop it if we decide to finish this. Zek stared at the device. One button to save his people. One button to doom them completely.
Status update.
After all the
Bridge.
death, all the horror, all the extinction, it came
inbound.
down to a simple choice.
Status update.
If we accept supervision, he asked, what does that mean?
Ready when you
It
are,
means your
Captain.
people will live under human law.
Engage.
You will have no military, no weapons, no ships capable of interstellar travel. You will be monitored constantly. Any sign of aggression will result in immediate termination. You will essentially be prisoners
Status
in your own
update,
space.
Bridge.
But we will live.
We are
You
inbound.
will live. Your children
Status
will live.
update.
Your cultures will continue, even if they are forever
Ready when you
changed.
are, Captain.
It is not the future you wanted, but it is a
Engage.
future. The council debated frantically, knowing their time was running out. Some argued for pride for choosing death over slavery. Others begged for any chance at survival. Finally, Zek made the decision
Status
that would
update,
determine the
Bridge.
fate of trillions of potential
We are
future
inbound.
lives. We accept your
Status
terms,
update.
he said quietly. We choose to live.
Ready when
Chen
you are,
nodded
Captain.
and pressed the first button. Across the
Engage.
galaxy, human fleets received the stand-down order. The extinction protocols were cancelled. The war was over. You have made the right choice, Chen said. The choice we hoped you would make 30 years ago. She stood to leave,
Status
then paused
update,
at the door.
Bridge.
I want you to send
We
a
are
message to
inbound.
every species in the galaxy.
Status update.
Tell them what happened here. Tell them that humanity offered peace
Ready
first
when
and
you
war
are,
second.
Captain.
Tell them that we prefer to build
Engage.
rather than destroy. But also tell them what happens to species that mistake our kindness for weakness. Chen walked back to her ship, leaving the survivors to process what had happened. She had prevented total genocide, but at a
Status
cost.
update, Bridge.
Humanity had revealed its true
We are
nature to the
inbound.
galaxy. They were no
Status
longer the
update.
peaceful explorers they had once been. They were something
Ready
harder.
when you are, Captain.
Something more dangerous. As her ship lifted
Engage.
off, Chen recorded one final message to be broadcast across the galaxy. To all species who received this transmission, I am Ambassador Chen Wei of Earth. 6 months ago, the hegemony destroyed my
Status
homeworld
update,
because they
Bridge.
believed humans were too weak to
We are
defend
inbound.
themselves. Today, the hegemony
Status
has ceased to
update.
exist as a military power. She paused, looking
Ready
out at
when
the
you are,
stars.
Captain.
We tried peace. We
Engage.
offered friendship. We wanted to explore the galaxy together, learning from each other and building something beautiful. That offer is still open to species willing to accept it. But to those who choose war, who see kindness
Status
as weakness,
update, Bridge.
who believe that might makes
We
right,
are inbound.
remember what happened here.
Status update.
Remember that humanity's greatest strength is not our weapons or our ships
Ready
or
when
our
you are,
strategies.
Captain.
Our greatest strength is that we
Engage.
choose peace first. And when peace fails, we are very, very good at the alternative. The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, countless species received the message and made their own choices about how to approach the
Status
humans they had
update,
once
Bridge.
dismissed as harmless.
We are inbound.
Most chose peace.
Status update.
They had seen what happened to those who chose war. But in the
Ready
depths
when
of
you are,
space, human
Captain.
fleets continued their patrols,
Engage.
keeping watch over a galaxy that now understood what they were really capable of when pushed too far. The humans had tried peace. When that failed, they had shown the galaxy the other side of their nature.
Status
Now everyone
update,
knew that both
Bridge.
sides existed,
We
and
are
everyone could
inbound.
choose which one they wanted to meet.